Good morning. Hey, we're a week away from the election, and there's a lot of questions. Will there be violence after the election if Trump wins? I know they're trying to memory hole it, but I will always remember how the left they just freaked out. They started a riot in Washington D.C. They overturned police cars. They set a limousine on fire. It was anarchy in Washington D.C. And it pretty well kept going for 4 years. It really, with George Floyd and everything else, cities were burned down, cops killed, BLM was violent, Antifa was attacking everyone. And the question is, are we going to see a repeat of that? I think that's a fear of a lot of people. If Trump wins, we're going to have to go through that bullshit again. But I had to think back. Sometimes I think back in my life, and I attended university, Colorado State University, in the early 1980s. And we all got on campus. And it was weird because we were kind of the new kids, a new generation, like every year, right? But it was different because years before us, the generation prior to us, all the guys had long hair. They were like hippies. And now you had a bunch of guys on campus that looked like Alex Keaton from Family Ties. They had short hair, uh, polo shirts, the whole 9 yards. And the old crew, they wanted to recreate 1968. They loved it because they were probably still on campus back then, right? That was only less than 15 years prior. And they wanted to stir up trouble. Man, we got to fight against the man. We got to go out and protest and burn stuff down, man. And we're all like, yeah, no, we're just going to go to parties and try to get a good job after school. And they were so desperate. They tried to organize rallies against the fascist Reagan administration. And so they would organize a student protest, hopefully people would be violent, take over the student union. And no one showed up. Everyone's out, having a party. You have a kegger. And they were so upset with us, these old ex-hippies. And we were kind of laughing at them because they seemed old to us. We were all in our 18, I think 18, 19 years old. They were in their upper 20s, like, yeah, these older people. And so then they tried a shtick like, okay, well, what we're going to do is on Monday, everyone that hates the Reagan regime is protesting the fascism of literally Hitler Reagan. Wear blue jeans when you go to class that day. And it was hilarious because that was the standard dress of everyone anyway. So they were so desperate. And all the energy had gone out of the room. They couldn't get us to riot or care. They used to write articles about your generation because we were right after the boomers. You're just apathetic. You just care about getting a good job and partying. And we're like, yeah, that's all we care about. So it's a strange situation. But the point is, all the energy that they had experienced from the late 60s, Weather Underground, blowing up stuff, violent protest, that all dissipated. And they couldn't understand why it was gone, and they were trying to reboot it. They were trying to reboot a time, which almost never works. We get that on our side too. People try to reboot a historical era. It's just dumb. You live in your own time. And these people, the hippie types, were trying to recreate something that generation had gone on. A lot of them had grown up. They got real jobs. Some of them had died of drug overdoses. But it was new. It was new. It's a new group of kids in there in school, or young people. And I think we're in a similar situation today. If you think about 2016, because I'm older, time it just seems it goes quicker. But in 2016, that was 8 years ago. So it'd be like if you were a 10-year-old boy, if someone that's 18 now attending college, they were 10 years old when Trump had his first administration, just a little kid. And when all that was happening, when all the left Antifa burning down Washington, D.C., they're different. They're different people now. And so they're on a college campus. Will it translate to them? And I don't know. I don't think it will. Just like the hippie generation, they didn't really translate their glory days to us. I don't think this will happen anymore. It's sort of spin out. And so I've seen a lot of signs of this that people just don't seem as, especially on the left in general, there's always going to be a few wanting the whole violence thing or riots thing. And we've even seen evidence of this recently. Trump had his rally at Madison Square Garden in the heart of, the deep blue. I didn't know they had Republicans there. He sold it out. There's thousands of people. People, it was overflow. They went outside. There was no Antifa attacking people. Whereas in 2016, I will always remember when Trump did his rallies, Antifa would be throwing stuff at people. One lady got hit in the head with an egg and she was attacked. You remember that famous picture? So yeah, the violence was common by the left in 2016. And now Trump goes to all these rallies. I don't hear of any violence really, except for, the kooks that try to assassinate him. But in general, not organized large groups of people engaging in violence that we had in 2016. So that's evidence things have changed. And what I think happens is you get to a point and the anger just sort of peters out and people get tired of it. And the people that have agitated it, in this case, again, if you're an Antifa person in 2016, that's 8 years later, you probably have grown up, got a job, or a lot of them are transgender and they may have committed suicide by now or drug overdoses. A lot of them were meth heads or fentanyl overdose. So a lot of them are dead. So the whole thing, I think, has run out of energy. So I really just don't see that there's really going to be the organized violence that we saw in Trump's first term. I could be wrong. But I'm not predicting it. Because we're also not getting the backers. Because in 2016, they had a lot of backers, Antifa and BLM, like with Soros and all these organizations egging them on. Whereas now, Bezos, he refused the Washington Post to give their endorsement to Kamala. Zuckerberg, he's staying out of this. So a lot of the rich billionaires that used to fund these groups they're more interesting. Let's get back to business. Let's have some peace and calm. And so if they don't have the backing, they're really going to be in trouble. Because I think Trump now, if there is this nonsense, he will arrest them. They will face long prison sentences. It's not like last time they get out right away. And the people that fund them could face serious penalties too. And if that happens, once a few people that start to engage in arson and burn down a Wendy's or burn down a church, if they face 20 years in prison, that will stop all of it because people don't want to spend all their life in prison. So I think the violence really won't be here. People are tired of it on both sides. People crave order and a sense of calm. They don't want this constant chaos of violence. So I'm hopeful. I'm fairly optimistic we'll be okay. There won't be a lot of violence, but we will see. We'll see soon. The election is in 1 week. Talk to you guys later.